Now we're going to deal with the header portion. So I'm going to go back out to the larger breakpoint. I do like to work from the largest to the smallest. I know some designers prefer the opposite. Whatever works for you at the end of the day. But what I want to do here is I want to create sort of a logo at the top, but have a continuous element of it go forever on the web page. And I'll go over to Photoshop and show you what I mean here. I've got the logo that goes at the top, which is right here. And when my browser gets very small, I'm going to swap this out for this little logo, and that's really when we get down to the phone sizes. But another thing I want to do is you see how this blue and red stripe are kind of common here? If I just highlight that like that, I want to have that repeat horizontally infinitely and line up with this logo. So I actually already did a slice for us here. Let me go here at logo stripe. And this lines up because it was actually derived from the logo. It was actually just sliced from here and saved as a new file. So we're going to use these three elements. One to create sort of a common background, and the other two, depending on the size of my browser width, will occupy the upper left corner of our header. So let's go and bring those in. So we'll start with the background, with the browser. All right, so I'm just going to click away here for a second. Go to Browser Fill, Add Image, and I'll just go into my folder here. And this one is called Loyalist Stripe. Click Open. And right now it's repeating. I only want it to repeat horizontally. So I'm going to go Tile Horizontal. And you can see there, it's this continuous stripe at the top of the page. Alright, I'm just going to click away for that. Now that I can see that height, I'm going to adjust my header size. So I'm just going to make it just whatever pixel larger or exact to that graphic. Okay, there we go. Next step I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce the logo, and I'll bring it in as an image. So that would be File, Place, and this is called Logo Loyalist.jpg, and I can actually just click up here and then reposition it. I'm just going to snap it to the top left of the page, and it should align here visually because that was all pre-calculated in Photoshop. Right now I'm just going to save this. Now I'll also pin this logo to the left of the page, and I'll turn off my resize, otherwise it will get quite weird. It'll actually shrink and won't align anymore. So I'm going to click that off. Let me save that again and preview that in the browser. Okay, so here we go. Preview page in browser. And there's my logo aligning. And it looks like, that stripe goes forever. Because I used it as a browser, I couldn't really do that attached to the page, or you would have seen an ending potentially on both sides once the browser got too wide. So this way it continues and fills that browser space. Alright, so there we have the beginnings of the header. Let's go back now. Now I will also add a menu up here. So, I could copy and paste this. Maybe I'll do that actually. Let's edit copy. Because it will retain all of those different states. And I think that should work. But let's find out here. Okay, so I'll just click away and go paste. And drag that up to the top here. And I'll keep that to the far right. I guess I can sort of center that along with the logo here. And I'll pin that to the right side of the page. Again with that, we'll set resize to none. Which it already was, of course, because that copied all its properties. Let me just save that. And we'll quickly have a look at this. What I would expect is this will just basically stick to the right, logo to the left. See, there's an issue here. You don't see it, do you? Now, here's the reason why. I'll go back to Muse. I copied and pasted that. Let me highlight it. I copied and pasted that from a footer element. Now there's one thing up here we didn't really discuss. there's actually a checkbox for footer elements so that they stay attached to the bottom with the footer. So since I derived that from the footer, it retained that property. So let's uncheck footer, save it, and test it again. Okay, so let's get a quick look, preview the page in browser, and there it is. Okay, and you can see here it's locked together because the responsive settings are set to none, which was what I wanted. When it gets to a certain point, it disappears because we need to go from breakpoint to breakpoint now. So let's go back here. Okay, so we need to deal with this menu element in the other breakpoints. If I click over here, I don't know if you noticed, but it actually appeared down below. And that's because that footer checkbox needs to be dealt with individually. So I believe it's this lower one here. And we'll uncheck that and drag it up. And just kind of position that to the far right. And change the pinning to the right from left. Save that, and I'll quickly try that before I move on to the next breakpoint. Okay, as soon as this materializes here in the browser. There it is, okay. So getting narrower. Okay, there it is there, and it'll probably disappear right there. Okay, so we'll drop it into that last breakpoint as well. So we'll go down to the 550, and again it's down here. I'll uncheck the footer checkbox and then just drag it up here. Now I know it's overlapping the logo, but we'll deal with that shortly. Let's just put it into place right now and reset the pin on it. And again, ensure that footer is unchecked. Save that. I'll do a very quick preview in browser to make sure it doesn't disappear or relocate itself. My browser is just a little slow to respond here. There it is. Okay, so let's just drag that, make it more narrow, more narrow. And yes, you see it overlapping, but at least it didn't disappear. All right, so let's address those uniquely now. Now when we're up here, it's fine. Actually, when we're here, it's fine too. It's when we get down here, we need to make a big decision. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to introduce that small logo and we'll hide the big one. Okay, so let's go to File, Place. And there's my small logo. And I'll just drop that in and then I'll position it. Okay, there it is, and I'll pin it, and I'll set resize to none. And let's just go over to the other breakpoints right now. And you can see that it's also on those. I actually pinned it to the wrong side here. Let me highlight that and pin it to the left, sorry. Nonetheless, it's still there and interfering. So what we need to do is, it will exist, but we can either hide it or show it. So let's go down to where we want it to be, which is down here. With it highlighted, you right click and simply choose Hide in Other Breakpoints. Now if we go to the other breakpoints, it should not be there and you don't see it. It actually is there, but it's hidden. It's hidden in the code. Alright, now here we need to hide the big logo. So it's kind of doing the opposite, if you will. So let's just highlight that large logo. If I can grab that, right click it, and hide in breakpoint. That means it'll only hide in this current breakpoint. It should still be visible in the others. Hide in breakpoint. There we go. So we've basically substituted those two down here. If we go to the other breakpoints, you can still see that the large logo is visible. Alright, let's just save that and test that. Whoops, I meant to save, but anyway, we'll save when I come back here. Alright, so we'll shrink this way. And when these get very close, it switches. Now, I actually probably want to switch it there, so I might need to actually add another breakpoint and switch it before. And on that last one, what we'll do is we'll swap out the menu for a mobile type menu. Alright, so let's go back here and we'll find that spot and go in here. I'll actually drag the handle until this starts to intersect with that graphic. And that'll be the new breakpoint. So I'll say right there and click Add Breakpoint, Create New Breakpoint. So we've got another one at 716. And again, I want to make that leaf visible, so it's a little bit awkward here. I basically have to turn it on all and then turn it off. If I go in here and highlight it, I'll right click, Show in Other Breakpoints, and then I'll manually come in here and say Hide in Breakpoint, and then manually come in here, Hide in Breakpoint. Oops, let me grab that again there. Hide in Breakpoint, and it should be on this one. And actually, it looks like, I don't know why, I accidentally pinned it to the right again. Let me pin it to the left here. And actually move that down. And snap it over there. And I'll check this other one. That one's pinned to the left. Okay. We'll go to the other ones here. And it's hidden in both of these, and it's exposed in these two. Now, again, in the 716, I do need to re-hide that large logo. So we just go right-click, Hide in Breakpoint. I think I got it all sorted out now. So in these two smaller breakpoints, you see the leaf as the logo. And in the two larger, you see the full width logo. Right, let me just save that. I'll quickly test that, but what I propose to do as the next and the last step in this first phase is to come down to the 550 and actually substitute this menu for an accordion menu. Alright, so here we go. Let's just go back out here, preview page in browser. A very quick test here, browser width. Alright, so I'll drag that back out. So pop, you see the bottom pops. And when the home gets close to that leaf, there we go. See? Boom, boom. And then as we get smaller, when we get to this breakpoint, I'm actually going to substitute this out for one of those accordion menus. So that'll be our next and final step in this phase. And let's do that. So we'll go down to this breakpoint. And let's see. I guess we'll just hide this. Hide in breakpoint. And I'll introduce some widgets. Now, one thing I forgot to do at the very beginning, let me just go back here. As you see how I extended the header, I'm going to do that in the other breakpoints. I think it was at 914, or 126 rather. I can double check that. 125. 125. 125 and 125. I'll just save that. Okay, so we want to create the accordion. Go to my widgets. Go to my panels here. Accordion. I'll drag that into the header area. Just size that up here. And I only need one of the accordion elements. So I'm going to click on the bottom here. And hit delete. Click on the second one here. Delete. And inside of the first panel, I'll highlight the text and delete that. And that I will replace with the vertical menu, which I'm dragging in here now. And I will restyle it, but first I'm going to size that to fit here. And actually we'll go click away and click back on the accordion. I'll resize that to fit the width. And I'll drag this down to the bottom of the header, and I'm just resizing it here. Okay, and there we go. And then I can close this drawer a bit more here. And now I'll just style these. I'll set the background colors, make it darker. I'll double click on the text or triple click on the text here till I get it. Let's make that larger. And we'll set that to Arial. And actually white works for me in this case. What I do want to do though is the top is get rid of that text. I'll go click on it again once, set the fill to none. And I need to do this in all of the states. So set fill to none. It's a bit tedious, but it's worth it. And I think we're good here now. So all the fills are set to none in this top. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to add a graphic up here. That standard graphic, if you will. So I'll use my rectangular box. And I'll just draw one rectangle and then I'll fill that with red. And I'll simply duplicate that. So I'll come in here with my selection tool and position it a bit. And with Option key on the Mac, Alt key on the PC, and holding my Shift key down, I can duplicate that, and I can do it again here to get the 3 lines. And you do see a readout when they match distance. So there we have it. And what I'll do is I'll select all 3 with my Shift key down, and I'll group them. Now they're a single unit. And that's just really meant as a graphic. And probably I should actually send that to the back. There we go. And that way the accordion menu is at the front. So if I click on the accordion, it will now set this to say can close all and overlap items below. Now when I click it, I can default it to be closed or open. I do want it to default to be closed. So I'll click it until it's closed and save. We'll just give this a try. But if it all works here, we're done phase 1. So preview page in browser. Okay. Oh, it looks like I need to deal with those stripes. Because I actually didn't hide anything. So you know what, instead of going through all of this, let's just go back here and address all of these. So we'll start with the accordion. We'll right click that, hide in other breakpoints. And I need to go to my layers, I think, for this next one here. And I'll just find the group. Here it is there. So I'll select it. And I'll right click on it. I'll say hide. Oh, you know what? I actually need to lock the accordion because it's in the way. There. And I can right click on that. Hide in other breakpoints. I think I've got it now, but this is why we test. Alright, let me just save that. And we'll give this another try. Preview page in browser. Alright. Waiting for the browser. Okay, so I'll make it large to start with. And then as we go, the copyright should push down. Then when that word home gets close to the leaf, that should switch, and it does, and then we get even tighter. And there we go. Let me just try this. And there we have it. So that's phase 1 on responsive design, and I'd like you to build this exactly as prescribed in this demo.